So what we would like to do is talk about pointers and pallets. So let's start out with pointers. Pointers are what LabVIEW uses to determine how something's being dealt with. If I turn on the tool palette, I get a whole series of pointers here. You can see I have a finger tool. The finger tool allows me to control things, turn switches on, rotate dials, etc. The arrow points to whatever is being dealt with. You can see if I go here and drop something down, that when I hover over it here, I have a pointer, and it now shows this little dotted box around it that is telling me it's selected. I have the text tool, lets me write things. The wiring tool allows me to connect things. So for instance, if I have pieces here, I can use the wiring tool to connect them, to draw from one to another, okay? This one we'll talk about in more detail when we get to debugging. This is the stoplight or the stop sign tool. This is the probe tool. It allows us to apply a probe to a wire, and you can see I get this probe display, and if I were to execute this, it would show me what the results of this particular one is. The eyedropper tool, of course, picks up a color, and the paintbrush puts down a color. So I can select whatever color I would like my background to be, for instance, or a piece of text, and the paintbrush is what does that. The very top one up here is the automatic tool selection. I've just turned him on. By default, he is on. And what he does is you'll notice that the tool changes depending on what I'm hovering over. It attempts to figure out for you exactly what you're trying to do and changing to the correct tool. I don't keep my tool palette up. I generally do a shift right click to bring it up, and then I can select what I want my tool to be. Some people like to have it up all the time. As far as palettes go, there are two palettes. One is the functions palette. These are all the things that you can put into a block diagram. On the other one, you have a controls palette. The controls palette are all the things that go on the front panel that a user can interact with, okay? You can change which style. There's a number of different styles here. For instance, this one, oops, I thought I got that one. Why didn't it get it? Silver, there we go. And a numeric. So this is the silver numeric. This is the regular numeric. There is also a system one, which looks even less happy. And there's the classic one. Classic was the common one for many years, but as things have developed, you can see that they have gotten gradually more fancy. This is the newest one, which is the silvers. And they all do exactly the same thing. The only thing is they look different. In the functions palettes, you can see I have different functions. For instance, here's my data acquisition stuff. Those all exist under measurement IO, DAC MX, and then here's all of my data acquisition related items that I can do. These are structures that give me things like while loops, for loops, case structures, numeric functions, Boolean functions. Again, these are all things that go just into the block diagram. You cannot put these into the front panel. It just won't even let you. And that is tools and palettes.